Welcome back to Wake Up America. I'm Rachel Roller. Today is President Biden's 100th day in office, and last night he addressed a joint session of Congress. Here to talk about Biden's speech and much more is Kansas Senator and Dr. Roger Marshall. Welcome to Wake Up America.
Rachel, good morning.
Good morning to you. Now, Senator, you were at President Biden's speech with a much different perspective than the rest of us watching at home. So if you will, take us inside. What was your overall reaction?
Well, it was a very somber, low-energy evening. And, perhaps it was almost like he was trying to bury American exceptionalism. And I think for all the things he talked about, it's what he didn't talk about that alarmed me. There was no talk of the crisis of the border, and there was no talk of giving credit to the previous administration regarding the COVID vaccine. That really, it was so hard for me to sit there and listen to him taking all the credit for the success against this plague, when really all he had to do was drive the Trump train that was full of the Trump vaccine. So just a very, very somber night. He lifted $6 trillion from American wallets last night. $6 trillion now, this president, in 100 days. It is a world record. $6 trillion he wants to borrow from our grandchildren and raise your taxes. So it was a tough pill to swallow last night.
I know that spending was something you mentioned in a tweet last night, alluding to how history won't be favorable to the Biden administration. And anytime we have a new president, we wonder what it will be that they are remembered for. Now, President Biden already has spent and plans on spending so much more this year alone. How concerning is that for the economy and for the American people's wallet that you're talking about he lifted from?
Well, again, we should call this legislation grab your wallet and kill your jobs, because I think that's what it's going to do. This is really more steps towards socialism, the total takeover of our lives by the federal government. If you think about really what his theme was last night, it was about how the government is going to take care of all of our lives, that he's encouraging people to not work. This country was founded on hard work. We're already rewarding people more for not working than they would if they were working. They were paying people $52,000 a year to stay at home. And that's the number one problem back home for people that own businesses. We can't find people to work. So this is just the tip of the iceberg, this nanny state taking away our freedoms. Think about what they did. They traded us all in with a little bracelet on our wrist, a mask on, even though every person in the room has been vaccinated, and they set us 6 foot apart. Did anyone feel comforted when the president of the United States walks into a room with the mask on? We don't. It makes us look gutless and powerless. And really, there's no science to support us wearing masks once we've had the vaccine. So it couldn't have been a more horrible message last night for American exceptionalism.
Definitely something I wanted to ask you about, Senator. Of course, you are a doctor as well. With the mask wearing, I believe there were 200 attendees in the House chamber that can hold 1,600 people, if I'm correct. And everyone was masked, as you mentioned, vaccinated as well, spaced out and told not to touch. We saw the fist bumping when you came in. Some people even double masked. Do you think this was a missed opportunity to reduce vaccine hesitancy for people wondering, maybe I shouldn't get the vaccine because what's the difference?
Rachel, you nailed it. That is exactly right. That's what we need the national media to be talking about. People that are hesitant to take a vaccine need a reward. They need a reward so that they can live as free as they did before this virus. And instead, we sent just the opposite message out there last night. Even though everyone's vaccinated in a perfectly controlled environment, 6 foot apart, all those things, we're still wearing belts and suspenders, a horrible message to send to the people that haven't been vaccinated yet. So it's just a huge struggle right now to getting us to that herd immunity. We've kind of plateaued. And if I could just have one message to your public is I hope the doctors and the pharmacists that are listening out there today will reach out to their patients. That's the last line of people that will be able to have influence on the people that have not had their vaccine yet.
And I think that's something people have been talking about a lot. It's not necessarily elected leaders that are encouraging people to get the vaccine. It's that personal relationship, family, friends, and doctors that are having those conversations. Now, Senator, Biden preached bipartisanship last night. We also know, of course, at his acceptance speech for the presidency, he's preached about unity. In his first 100 days alone, his actions a bit saying otherwise. As you pointed out, zero mention to the former administration and Operation Warp Speed. Wouldn't that just one mention have been a touch of unity, of bringing people together, saying we can work together and move forward?
Rachel, you nailed it again. In the president's inauguration speech, he mentions 9 times about unity. He mentioned unity several times last night, but it's all lip service. We've been here 100 days, and the White House has yet to reach out to anybody on the Republican side for any type of meaningful legislation or input into how to spend the $6 trillion or what we're going to do with taxes as well. So he says one thing, he does another. This is a nanny state of socialism, a radical socialist agenda. Please, I just hope everyone listens to what their agenda looks like in totality. That they want to pack the Supreme Court. They want to make Washington, D.C. a state. They want to rig the elections, open borders, defund the police, raise your taxes, take your property. This is not a socialist agenda. This is a communist manifesto out there right now. America's got to wake up. 2022, we've got to flip things back around here.
Senator, real quickly, we have less than a minute left. The president briefly mentioned the crisis at the southern border, but he did point out that Vice President Kamala Harris was the right person for the job, yet she hasn't visited. So how exactly is she the right person?
They don't want to square it. She is scared to death of this. They've unleashed a huge dragon right now. It's a humanitarian crisis, a national security crisis as well, a health crisis, that unless they re-implement President Trump's policies, the back and remain in Mexico programs, they're not going to be able to fix it because Trump got this one right with his policies, but they wouldn't want to give him credit. They want the problem. They want the crisis down there. They want to keep your eyes on it while they're picking your pocket, right? So there you have it.
Quite the distraction. All right, Senator Roger Marshall, thank you so much for joining us. All the time we have for right now.
Thanks, Rachel.